I heard that they were looking for a youth pastor. That was probably the farthest thing from my mind, but you never know what the Lord's going to do. Amen. And so we came up here, and I met Pastor Hallett for the first time, and he was telling me everything about the church. He's telling me everything about the area. And before I left, the first impressions are lasting impressions. Okay, I remember a Sunday school class, and we were teaching about the same thing. I think it was in 1 Peter, or shortly after there, I think. And even when I went home from our first initial visit, I texted him or called him, I think it was, and I said, hey, can I get some of your Sunday school lessons? Amen. It's pretty neat how he always says how we have a lot of likes. Amen. We like a lot of things, the same things, the thing thought process. That's scary, by the way. Amen. But when you get to know Pastor Hallett, you know, the three words that come out of his mouth a lot of times is what? I love you. Okay? When a guy tells another guy he loves you, at first it's kind of strange. Okay? I remember about every three words that came out of his mouth is I love you, because he was just so excited to have our family here. And it seemed like, I love you, I love you, I love you. I thank you so much for what you do. I thank you so much for what you do. And I said, if you ever say, I thank you so much for what you do, I'm going to kill you. Okay? It's just like, we're just human beings. We're doing what the Lord wants us to do. And we don't need you to say that every 3 seconds to us. Amen? And some funny things about Pastor Hallett. When we first got here, we volunteered to clean the church. Okay, and so he's over there showing us exactly how we should clean the church. Amen. And I'm like, just do your thing, I'll do my thing. Amen. I'm thinking that in my head. You know, I know how to clean a building. I'm good at this. I've been doing this for years. But it's kind of funny how he's set in his ways on certain things. If you know Pastor Hallett, you know that about him. Amen. But when he says he loves you, he means it. Amen. It's not just words, because the more you're around him, it's a reality. And just like any of us, you say something, eventually the truth come out, whether we love somebody or not. But he's proven that with his words and with his actions. When we first moved here, what impressed me about him was he rolled up his sleeves and he actually helped us move our furniture into the house. Amen. It's kind of funny, different churches practice different things, and we actually had a Christmas tree in the U-Haul. I said, by the way, is this okay to have a Christmas tree? Because I didn't know what his thoughts were about that, you know, so I'm like, okay, I hope he doesn't mind us having a Christmas tree, okay, or TV, okay, so we passed the test with those two things, amen. So, but it's been a lot of fun working around Pastor. If you know Pastor, he's upbeat. He's probably one of the most upbeat person I've ever met, amen. And he's a people person. And you know, think about all the things a pastor does. A lot of times you don't see what pastor does, but I do. Amen. And, you know, you don't get the, you know, like someone once said, the 3 o'clock calls in the morning. Okay. These politicians don't get up for those calls, amen. But our pastor does, amen. I don't know how many times he's been called at 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning. And not only was he called, he actually got out of bed and visited some of you guys, amen. Now, I don't know how many here were married by Pastor Hallett, amen. How about, lost a baby or something like that, and he was there for you, or a funeral or something like that, amen. You don't realize how many times he's been there for you. Okay, maybe a church transition, maybe a counseling session. Amen. He's been there for you. And, you know, we just want to say we appreciate all you've done and all you're still doing. Amen. And I know it's not easy how he transitioned from his father to him being in the pulpit. That's not the transition I would want. Amen. But he took it with stride. And one thing about a pastor, he's not here for filthy lucre. Amen. That brown van, amen. He just has all kinds of money, amen. But you think about his heart. His heart's not with money, amen. And God's blessed his family. Since I've been here, I've seen God's blessing upon his family, amen. But it's not about the money. It's not about, all the accolades and things like that. It's a sincere heart for you and for me. And we just want to thank you, Pastor, for all you do and speak each week. You think about all the messages he's preached. Think about all the time it takes to prepare a message. Amen. You know, we complain about 1 or 2 hours for a Sunday school lesson. Can you imagine preparing 3 to 4 to 5 messages a week on certain weeks? Think about all the prayers he's put up for us. You know, all the stubbornness on our part. Amen. Have you ever been stubborn toward your pastor? And we're vocal about it. Amen. If I was the pastor, I'd probably killed everybody 3 times ago. Amen? But he's very gracious, isn't he? That's one thing about pastor. He's very gracious, and I won't keep going on, but we just want to just give you a small token from our church. There's a gift on the table there. You can open that present at this time. And there is a jar back there if you haven't already. You know, you think about counseling sessions. If you went to a counselor in the world, it'd be, you know, $50 to $100, $200 or more. You know, the labor is worthy of the hire. Amen. And we need to honor our pastor when we can. Amen. Go ahead, Pastor, and this is Naomi. Get over that present.